So welcome back to Ancestral Voices, We Belong. I am your host, Kim Wheatley, and I'm so excited to say that this is the 6th episode of Ancestral Voices, We Belong. I hope you're following us on YouTube and on Instagram and on Facebook. We do post, not as regularly as we should, but we're certainly interested in your comments and what you think about the guests that we've had and any suggestions you might have. So it's really important to us that we are connecting, as listeners and deliverers of what it is that's happening in the world around us. As you know, Ancestral Voices, We Belong is focused on Indigenous, Black, African, and Caribbean creatives and what they're doing in the world. And we are doing a whole lot of different things. There's so much diversity and creativity out there and a huge rise in entrepreneurship. That's something that I'm really excited about. And I think it's kind of the wave of the future. When we look at how we are navigating the many, many changes that are happening in the world, especially politically, many of us are struggling with how to connect to that, how to feel represented in that and by that. And we're asking challenging questions to people who want to assume roles of leadership. And I think one of the very important questions we should be asking is, am I being heard? Am I being considered in your platform? And how will I be able to experience that? And how will I be able to hold you to account? So I think about those things. I'm not really a politically oriented person, but I do know that at this particular time in 2025, and I'm recording this in the month of April, at the end of April. So if you listen to this somewhere down the road, here's some context for you in terms of timing. I know that we're in the time of great change and that many things are not only being shooken up, but transformed. And I'm not the one to judge on whether it's good, bad, or ugly, but we know that we're getting a little bit of it all. As we move forward with Ancestral Voices, we want to continue to provide a platform of opportunity to have very casual dialogues about what people are doing in connection to the spaces and places they reside in, but also the directions in which they're heading. And as I think about the change of season right now, it is April. We just passed Earth Day, and Earth Day is a really important day for Indigenous people, and we're all Indigenous from somewhere on the planet. But it's a reminder that we have a great mother, a sacred mother who takes care of us and ensures that the seasonal cycles of change are never deviated from. Thank goodness, otherwise we wouldn't have anything to eat. We wouldn't be able to maybe get out of our snow clothes. because the snow would just stay. So really grateful to her. And I just want to pause and take a moment to thank our Mother, the Earth, for all that she does, all that she sacrifices, and all of the directions and educational opportunities that she provides for us. When it comes to education, there are many ways to learn. And what I've discovered in the few podcasts that I've recorded to date is you never know what a guest is going to bring to the table and how they're going to approach sharing who they are and what it is they're doing and how that journey even took place for them. And I think that's part of the really cool parts of dialogue when you're meeting somebody. And today I have a very special guest coming in. Karen is somebody that I've known for some time who has transitioned in many spaces and places when it comes to work and holding a space and place for cultural integrity and cultural representation. And she's never deviated from that. And I celebrate that because many more of us need to really travel down that road and ensure that we are heard, that we are seen, and that we are embraced as the change makers we are. So I want to welcome Karen. I know that she's on the line. Karen, are you still there?
I'm here. Hello.
Hello, and welcome to Ancestral Voices, We Belong. We're so honored to have you here today, and I'm so excited to kind of go through a chit-chat with you about who you are, where you come from, what you've done, and what you're doing now. Listeners are always very curious about what we do, as people and how we find a space and place of belonging. And maybe we'll just start with who you are. So that a bit of an oral bio can be shared with the listeners on how you identify, who you are, where you come from.
Okay, well, my name is Karen, of course, and I was born in Jamaica and lived in Jamaica until I was 9 years old with my grandmother. then migrated to Canada to live with my family when I was 9. And from there, just truly became enveloped in the Canadian culture while still holding on to some of the Jamaican culture. Now, a part of that was my family. Before I joined them here in Canada, they lived their lives in England. Not sure if you knew that, but all my brothers and sisters were born in England. So my mother had been living in England from she was about 18. So the Jamaican culture was kind of mixed into the English culture, and the food we ate was English-based. And
lots of sweets.
It was different. Yes. So it was different, but it was great. And I think, as life progressed,
I think I'm just going to pause you there. I think like the kind of migrational route back in, the 50s, the 60s was to go through England first and then make your way to perhaps Canada or the United States. I think it was an easier route immigration-wise for many West Indian people. I've heard this journey very much that they started their journey perhaps in going from one of the Caribbean islands, then going to England, and then finding their way over to our great island, Turtle Island, otherwise known as North America. But
exactly.
Interesting that your mom went there as a young woman, and you came here as a little girl. Was the transition hard for you to go from kind of a different way of life, a slower pace of life, to?
Okay, I'm not sure if this is a proper story to tell, but it's funny, not funny. It really will tell you about my transition to living in Canada. So I arrived here in August, and the weather was nice. And then, of course, the weather got, to fall and winter. Now, I'm at school, and I don't know anything about snow and being cold and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just warm. But the kids know I don't know anything about the cold. So someone told me to stick my tongue on a metal fence.
No.
You know what that is, right?
Oh, my gosh.
I laugh at it now, but man, that hurt.
I think, there are so many kids who, get challenged to do that. And they know their tongue's going to stick. But I think you just assume that it's going to peel off, and it will peel off, but it'll leave a layer of skin on the bowl too. My goodness. What a terrible way to get introduced to winter. I'm sorry that was done to you.
This little Jamaican girl did not know about the tongue peeling off thing, okay?
Is your tongue okay today?
No. I'm all good now. It's all good.
Yeah. So, which province did you grow up in?
Oh, here in Ontario. Yeah.
Right.
Never moved around in the GTA, the Greater Toronto area, but stayed in Ontario. Yes. Yeah.
Context is important because for some listeners, they may not be Ontario bound. They could be someplace else in the world listening and not have any context for what GTA is. But Ontario is the most populated province in Canada. And many, many immigrants come to Ontario first and then make their way to other areas of Canada. It's such a vast, diverse country. And thank goodness you didn't end up in the prairies as your first experience, because winters are cold and harsh there.
Yes.
You did your
haven't been, but I've heard.
Right. So you did your education in and around Ontario, and post-secondary. Did you do any post-secondary?
Yep, I was still in Ontario. I went to Sheridan College. Yes.
And what did you study?
Business management and administration, and that kind of opened up, a huge field for me.
Yeah.
A huge field for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it all ties into your path. In your bio, you were an entrepreneur at 17 years of age, undertaking an enormous project that I couldn't even. I really don't understand that realm. But do you want to share with the listeners a little bit about that journey?
Certainly. I've always been an entrepreneurial spirit. I've always been, my grandmother would tell you when I was 2 years old, I would, organize everything in my little toy box in my drawers, and you couldn't touch it. Do not mess with Karen's things because it's organized. Don't touch it, right? So because it's just always been like that, and I love working with people. I love to see projects come to fruition, to see the outcome, to see great things happen, to know that I helped to make that happen. So my boyfriend at the time was a musician, and we're just budding musician, and we started an independent record label.
Oh my gosh, at 17.
Yes, and I'll tell you quickly what happened with that. We started independent record label. I know nothing about running a record label. They're in the studio doing their thing, and I'm tasked with finding distribution channels, finding shows for the artists to do, getting their bios done, their photos, like everything done. And I'm learning this as I go. And it was great. I met some great, interesting people. And to this day, like I had a conversation with someone I haven't seen in like 20 years, and they said, Karen, I remember you. You were awesome. I'm like, thank you. They said, thank you. But we did well. We nourished and grew artists. I remember once after about 3 years of doing that, I think I was just about 20, maybe 21. And I said, you know what? I've been dealing with Sony Music for so many years on the phone, and let's go to New York and meet them.
Oh my goodness!
So we booked a trip to New York, and to book the appointment at the Rockefeller Center with Sony Music A&R, and sitting in the boardroom waiting for her to come in, and she walked in and she looks at me, and she says, "Are you Karen?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "You look like you're 12."
Well, for the listeners, if you Google her, she still looks like she's 12. You haven't aged at all. But I'm sure the shock on their face. You started so young. Can I ask what genre of music was did you have a specialty, or did you focus on one genre of music?
We were primarily promoting reggae artists, dance hall. Oh. So these days would be like Buju Banton, those type of artists, and then we also worked with some rap artists, and we're fortunate enough to meet the right people that our little artists here in Toronto got to open for big names. They're back then they were big names. Now they're old school names, but these people like Queen Latifah. We opened for Queen Latifah. Gosh. We opened for the Fresh Prince and and Jazzy Jeff. We opened up for Chris Brown. We did a lot of things. So, yes.
You must have an amazing photo album. Yeah. That sounds like a lot of shows with just huge names. I mean, these are icons in the music industry today, and people really look up to them for their legacy of work.
Yeah, Al Cool J, all of them. We opened up for all of them.
Oh, my gosh. On this side of the border in Canada or in the U.S.?
In Canada, yep.
Right,
basically any show that was coming to Toronto. Because of my connections with the promoters in Toronto, our little artists got to open up for every one of them.
So for those who are interested in that field, how did you even access how to connect to those type of people? I mean, they have such numerous barriers that you have to get through to even, send a message.
So just if anyone is interested, the way you do that is not really to connect with the artists themselves. We never met them until they were here and we're backstage with them. You connect to the promoters. So you find out who's a promotion company booking the show, and you connect with the promoters of the show.
Well, you certainly have the gift of gab, and you're very warm and welcoming, so I'm sure it was an easy route for you. But thank goodness they didn't see your little 12-year-old face. They just heard your voice on the telephone,
exactly.
Huh? Exactly. So you learned a lot of skill sets on how to communicate, how to navigate all the barriers, how to really raise the bar into like iconic echelons now. You should have a Hall of Fame star, here on Toronto's Walk of Fame there for the work that you've done. But that aside, so you did that, and then are you still doing that work today?
No. So that led to my work in radio. So doing the shows, I was also booking a lot of radio advertising. Doing the shows also led to meeting promoters who recognized my skill set, and I branched off into helping them plan and execute events. And I'll tell you, one of the first events that I did was kind of a red carpet, real red carpet affair party for the Chicago Bulls when they came to town.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
that's a big group of people.
Right. Yes, it was funny to see because the whole venue was packed with people, and when the Bulls came in, you saw them because they were 2 heads higher than everybody else there. So it was amazing. But yeah, like I said, the education and just my skill set that derived from that, and the skill set I've had from I was a child. Just when it's recognized, it branches off. Because then that branched into meeting a representative from WBLK, which is a major radio station in Buffalo at the time. And they asked me to leave everything and come work for the radio station.
In what capacity?
Yeah, as sales, because they just thought I'd be great at sales. And of course, I dove in not knowing anything about sales, anything about radio, anything about any of that. I dove into that as well.
So this was hands-on learning experience. You didn't go to school for this. Nobody mentored you or trained you. You just sheer determination said, I'm going to make this work.
I just said, and I continued that for my 20-year radio career. I just said, you know what? I think it'd be good if I looked at your business and thought, your business would do really great to advertise on BLK. It would bring in a lot of customers to you. Then I would just explain that to you. I didn't need sales gimmicks or catches or lines or phrases. If I believed it would work for you, I'm going to tell you that, and I'm going to show you how. And with that, I succeeded.
So did you reach out to like Black businesses and Black communities to do this work, or was just everybody?
Primarily Black businesses, because WBLK at the time was the only station reaching Toronto playing urban music, Black music. So they were playing the rap and the R&B and all that stuff. They were the only ones doing that. So they primarily reached that audience. So, and funny thing is, one of my first client was a small restaurant called Granny's. And even though I wasn't the copywriter, I said, you know what? I went in there and I said, I met Granny. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there really is a Granny. The place is called Granny's, and there really is a Granny. Right?
Oh, my goodness.
I said people would be excited to hear that. People would be excited to hear that. So I created that ad for her, and it was, there really is a Granny. You have to go in and meet her. And their business boomed. And literally 10 years after, even to this day, I still talk to Granny.
Oh,
I call
Granny
her once in a while,
Yay!
and we talk. Yes, she's still here. She doesn't work anymore. She's in her 90s. I call her every once in a while, say hi. Her and I chat. She's always so happy to hear from me, and yeah.
So there was also a bit of a personal kind of commitment to who the people were. It wasn't just all business. You really established a solid network of trust and relationship.
As I grew in the radio business and got recruited to work at Flow 93.5, which was the Black station in Toronto, that launched in 2001. I joined them in 2002. And as I grew in that role and got to be senior account executive, I remember my manager saying, Karen, you've got to pass on Granny's account to one of the junior guys, because she wasn't spending like a tenth of what my level of advertising was. Mm-hmm. But I said no. I said no, because you know what? When I started, she was good enough to book with me, and I'm not going to leave her. Oh. And she was also the only one I had to physically go to pick up checks, because everyone else would do e-transfers or whatever. But Granny was Granny, and you had to go there. So I literally make every month a day to go and visit her, listen to her stories, and
Eat
pick
her
up the little
food?
check. Eat her food, of course.
I mean,
Of
food
course.
is such a great connector. That is such a
Mhm.
beautiful story. And I'm so happy that Granny is still with us. Those are good
Yes.
memories to share. And also
Hmm.
such a gift of community support, right? Do you
Yes,
think that
exactly.
your cultural background gave you a measure of success and in because you were seen as a member of the community rather than somebody who's just trying to get some money out of them to advertise?
You know what? I think so. I think so because, like I said, primarily in the beginning stages when I was with WBLK and then with Flow, because of the target audience, it did help too that I was Jamaican, right?
Yeah.
I think it definitely got my feet in a couple of doors. And then as things progressed and grew and Flow grew, and et cetera, and we expanded our audience reach, then of course, clients like the big clients I had, like General Motors, et cetera, et cetera. So they
Wow.
also emerged. Yeah.
General Motors was advertising on them. Wow. So are you still
Yes.
working in the music industry to some degree today?
Very little. I help out a little with a few artists, but the industry has changed so drastically. It's mostly all online and YouTube and Spotify and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really do much in it, just a little consulting work.
Right.
That's about it. Not fully involved in booking shows or anything like that.
You're
I have a
too old
different
school
business
for that now. They don't do it that way
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh, yeah. I'm so old school. I don't know what's going on anymore.
We all get to that age and stage. So
Right?
so you left that and then where did you go next? What did you do next?
So after the radio career, which I absolutely loved, and I'm just going to take 30 seconds to tell you why I
Yeah.
loved the radio and working at Flow 935. I'm going to big them up. So Flow being the only black station in Canada,
Wow.
any artist coming to Toronto would stop at Flow. It was the place to be. So if Jay-Z was coming to Canada, Jay-Z is stopping in at Flow. Beyonce, Janet Jackson,
No,
Rihanna,
really.
you name it, they stopped. And it wasn't always advertised because we couldn't. They just came in, said hello, they chit-chatted, they hung out for a while. If it was booked, they would do an interview. Once it got out that Chris Brown, was it Kanye West? No, Kanye West was funny, but Chris Brown was coming, and it got out somehow that he was coming. The whole Yonge Street and the back alleys and the back were crowded with people. So we made sure it never got out again. And then one funny story. I'm going up the elevator one day. I'm going up the elevator to the office, and I get in the elevator, and Jamie Foxx is in the elevator.
Ooh.
going up. Jamie Foxx is in the elevator, and I go, oh, hi, and he says, oh, and you are? And I looked at him and said, I'm Karen Kelly. And he says, you say that as if I'm supposed to know you. And I said, well, yeah, I'm Karen Kelly. The man takes out his phone and kind of says, I got to take a selfie with you because I don't know what he took a selfie with after his phone.
I wonder if he posted it on his page.
No, but
Your audacity, yeah. So Karen Kelly was your married name.
Yes. Then I got married
You
again,
got married?
and I'm Karen Woolcock now.
Karen Woolcock. Yeah, you've had a couple of names, and you've had a couple of. Well, it sounds like you've had many remarkable experiences. Just let us know, because listeners are probably wondering, who was the best famous person that you've met and why?
Oh, wow. There were so many.
Okay, you can name a couple.
Okay. Janet Jackson. And I'll tell you why. She is so, okay, Beyonce shy, but Janet Jackson is very shy and quiet. And what I always found is that everyone I meet, I'm like, everyone is very short. I don't know why. But anyway,
They are.
Janet Jackson was, they are. So Janet Jackson was coming in for an interview, and I had from her, like her tour from years ago, I mean many years ago, you know those tour books that you get with all the pictures? So I had that at home, and I dug it out of the basement, and I brought it because we were doing studio work at the time, so we were going to get one of the pictures in the tour book autographed to put up in the studio. So as she got in, I said hello, chit-chatted with her. I gave her the tour book. I dog-eared the page. I said, can you please sign this for me when you have a minute? He said, sure, no problem. So I go in my office now, and we can hear the radio in our offices, right? So the interview is going on, and you hear the announcer, so Janet, and he's blah, 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 blah. And then you hear silence. And then you hear the announcer again, blah, 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 blah. And then there's silence. I'm like, what is going on? Is she not talking? After the interview, our program director comes and says, Karen, why did you give her that book? I'm like, why? What happened? Girlfriend was so busy looking at the pictures. She was in nostalgia, looking at the pictures. She pushed the microphone aside and was looking at the pictures.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Did she sign it though? Did she sign it?
Yes, she did. Oh, yes, she did.
Did she put anything special in there, or did she just put Janet?
So she just put all the best or something. Yeah, just the typical stuff. But I thought that, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Do you still have it?
The whole interview. It's somewhere. I don't know. You know, we were so in that world at the time that those things didn't mean anything. You know, I mean,
right.
you put them down, right?
Yeah,
so pictures and all that didn't mean anything, right? So,
So Janet was one, and she was warm and down to earth. And interested in herself.
Yes. yes. And she was so excited to see all of her old pictures, her old friends, her dog picture was in there, her horses, everything was in that book. So she was very happy to walk down memory lane, I guess.
So was there anybody else that you have a little story to share about? Because it's so interesting to hear about famous people. They get put on such a platform, and people, kind of really forget that they're people too.
They're people, yes. So Beyoncé, and she came to do a show in Toronto. The station had a little fashion show promoting her jeans at the time, I believe, and dinner and all that kind of stuff before the show. So I'm sitting with Beyoncé and Solange at a table. And after the dinner and the little fashion show, the announcer, because we're at a restaurant, the announcer called and said, oh, and Beyonce's in the house, we'd love for her to come up and do a little welcome. Oh. And I'm sitting beside her, and she's holding her head down and saying, no. She's nervous to go up there.
Oh, my goodness.
And Solange is encouraging her, just go up and say a quick word. And she's like, no. So finally, they convinced her to go up, and she did a very quiet, thank you so much, like very sweet, like very, very sweet, thank you so much, I so appreciate it, et cetera, and came off. And literally 3 hours later, doing her show at the ACC, you saw Beyonce, that everyone knows, dancing around and jumping around and screaming. I'm like, wow, And so it's very nice to see, because she's very sweet and very quiet otherwise, right?
That sounds like a really actually interesting job, and just a totally unique experience. So many. You should write a book. I think you should write a book about those experiences, who you met, what you knew, when, all of that kind of stuff. So you're not in that field anymore. You're not doing that work anymore, but you've obviously learned a lot of skills that brought you to your next journey. Do you want to share about that?
Okay. So radio career ended, and I said, okay, I need to do something, because I love to work with people. I said, I need to do something where I'm still working with people, because in my radio career, I worked with people. In the music, I worked with people, and I skipped out an office gig that I did while doing the music. I worked full-time in an office while doing the music. I forgot to tell you that. But there was that. I was the assistant office manager back then. So I always working with people and managing systems and just doing operations, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to continue that in some role. I was racking my brain. What can I do? What can I do? Something unique. And I came up with, okay, there are a lot of small businesses or business that travels to Canada. And why don't I start a service where we provide logistics services for them here while they're here? And I started up KY Concierge. And it blossomed. It's blossomed because I've met some really fantastic people. And they just helped me to, like you said, how do you meet the right people to get your clients?
Yeah.
And I started off, I came up with the company name. It's not very creative, KY Concierge. And we started off saying, okay, we're going to do travel logistics for international business travelers, meaning that as a delegation or group of executives, et cetera, coming here to Canada, they'd connect with us first and say, okay, we're landing on this date. We need an airport transfer. We need hotel. We're going to be in town for 4 days. We need to go here and and et cetera, et cetera. So as that grew, we said, okay, now we need to put translators because people are coming from different places and we need translators. So we partnered with some translation companies. Then we were asked, because again, people meet me directly and see the skill set, and I'm an organizer by birth. So
yes, you are.
So literally, I was asked by a huge organization to assist in the planning and execution of their 3-day conference in Toronto, where there's focus on the Middle East. So a lot of high-profile people from the Middle East were coming in and meeting with a lot of high-profile government dignitaries from here. So literally, I put a team together and did that. We had a dinner, we had a forum, we had all kinds of stuff going on for 3 days, and we did it. So that now launched us into doing event planning and execution.
Because you're never busy enough. So
I never have enough to do, right?
Well, just listening to you, my head's spinning. But so you went into this concierge business as an entrepreneur, again, leveraging some of your past experience on how to take care of the various artists that you did in the past. But in the transition to, in your own right, working for yourself and really propelling this forward, do you advertise internationally? Like, how do people, is it strictly by word of mouth, or how were people getting to know what you're doing?
So, I label the business as a boutique service. So not the big credit card companies that have the concierge services. We're a boutique, and people like that. Mm-hmm. So being boutique, it's basically word of mouth. I was invited in the beginning to into a wine tasting event at the ROM. I don't drink wine, but I go. I get one glass. I walk around with one glass all day. But you get to meet people, and you meet people with confidence. So you have to have that entrepreneurial spirit. That I was walking up to people, strangers. I don't know anybody there. I'm walking up to people, introducing myself, talking about the business, saying that this is what we do. We work with delegations coming in from da-da-da-da-da-da. And at this time, we had 0 clients. 0.
Only you and you know.
Exactly. But you talk it because you're confident in what you're doing.
Yes.
Right? So from that, you meet people, then the next thing from meeting a few people there, and always as an entrepreneur, you follow up with these meetings. You don't just meet, say hello, you give a card and you leave it. No, you follow up, you send an email, et cetera, et cetera. I got an invitation next to the Polish consulate, which is a huge mansion on the lakeshore, to their exclusive summer garden party, which people beg for tickets to go to, and I got invited to go. And from there, I met a lot of consul generals, and it just goes on. And long story short, we now work with primarily various consulates, various trade offices around the world, a couple embassies around the world, and of course the corporations as well. As long as there's a business delegation, trade delegation coming into Canada, I can always use more business. Hey, but yes, so we basically provide all their travel logistics management and event management and execution.
How old is KY Concierge now?
Started in end of 2016.
Okay. So it's
End of 2016.
Yeah, you're almost 10 years old.
Already.
Next year, yes.
I know. COVID stole 3 years from us because the plane stopped flying, and then, of course, just get things ramped back up. COVID stole about 3 years from us. So, yeah.
COVID affected so many people. You made a reference to kind of getting your launch in the ROM. For listeners who don't know what the ROM is, it's the Royal Ontario Museum. And,
Yes.
you know, they hold a lot of very fancy events there. It's also a very interesting stop if you ever come to Toronto. But I'm glad that you had that opportunity. What I find with entrepreneurs is they put themselves in places of not knowing people and then reaching out with that level of confidence that you spoke about, but also that intention, you know, to actually promote and talk about and connect what they're doing to perhaps people that are there. As an entrepreneur myself, I often do that. And I take those leaps of faith, and they're always successful. If you were to give some advice to somebody who's interested in, you know, maybe exploring some of the journey that you've had to date work-wise, what would be some pieces of advice that you would offer to, say, a young person or somebody who was mentoring with you? What would be some of the key pieces of advice you'd say that they need to have or learn?
One of the key things I would say is you have to have a tough skin.
Oh.
You have to be an entrepreneur. You know this. You have to be tough. Don't take it personally when you wanted to deal with a company or a client and it didn't work out. Don't take it personally. It's not you. It's not you.
Right.
And that's part of having a tough skin. Follow up. Always follow up. A lot of people go to networking events or go to events and they meet people, and it's a great conversation. And, you know, they may follow up once, and then, you know, the conversation didn't lead to instant business. So, okay, they're done. No, follow up. I've gotten, and it happens, right? I've gotten many contracts from businesses who say, Karen, I'm glad, like literally these words, I'm glad you were persistent. because I didn't let them go. If I'm following up with you once a year, twice a year, I'm going to send you a quick email. I'm going to send something, because you have to stay visible. If you're not the big corporations out there, you're a small business, you have to stay visible, and that's the way to stay visible with the potential clients that may hire you. I'll tell you a quick story. I met a gentleman once at an event, and I did the same thing, card, follow-up email, second email follow-up. He never responded. 2 years later, this gentleman responded to an email I sent him 2 years before. Tells me, right? That tells me that he was interested in business, but he's the type of person that, I'll call you when I need you, right? Mm-hmm. And that led to a booking where we, again, entrepreneur, we were asked to facilitate a group going to the Middle East. And so doing everything that we do here, but in the Middle East. And I'm like, okay, I've never been to the Middle East. I don't know anybody there. But and you don't say no. You figure it out. But also to maintain the integrity of the business. One of the things I personally pride in is that we do not just Google. I have clients going to, France. I'm not just going to Google what is the best transportation company in France or who are the best translation company in France. No, I need referrals from trusted associates, right? That can give me the good suppliers. So took the job and then kind of searched my brain and my notes to see who do I know over there? Who do I know? And turns out I did have a connection to someone in the Dubai embassy. I had someone in the connection to the Turkish consulate, et cetera, put it all together for them. Great. And then a month out before departure, they asked me to go with them just to make sure everything worked out nicely. So I got to go to Istanbul, Turkey, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Oman, and Qatar.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, all expenses paid with a great group of people. It was a lot of work, but I loved the work, so all good.
So, you know what I'm hearing from you is the wow factor, because there's some perks. But the first thing I thought you would say as a recommendation to anybody who's interested in, maybe following along in the journey you've taken or exploring some of those options, would be you have to be organized because you're the queen of organization, right?
I am.
But you gave some
I think
practical personality
just
kind of
comes
behaviors.
naturally to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. It just comes naturally to me, so I don't even think of it.
Is there anything you would change about the journey that you've taken in your work life to date?
No.
That's really, really good
great
to hear. Yeah, they've been good choices.
Yeah, no, I no, it's been wonderful. One thing I would advise to any entrepreneur though is plan for retirement. because you're an entrepreneur, you don't have a pension with a company.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You don't have a pension. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
You have to be practical. I find that the world at large is veering more towards independence and becoming entrepreneurs. Of course, with the technical age, it's become very easy, and with AI, you can get all the learning and help and support that you need.
Yeah.
And do you see that your work will always be kind of something that's in need, and you'll always move forward with just word of mouth promotions rather than, I don't know, advertising on a radio station or, at a consulate or something?
It's funny that you said that, because the advertising that we do now is just that, word of mouth, attending events. I just went to a luncheon. I get invited to a luncheon by a former consul general, and it's a luncheon with all the consul generals in Toronto. Oh. And very few business people are there, but I get in that door. And I keep in touch with people. So that is definitely one of the strong points. Because it's a small business, it's good to get a referral, right?
Yes.
But it's funny you say that, because just this morning, I just sent a message to a friend of mine, a business associate, who is fairly high up in the chain at Global Affairs Canada. And I'm asking her to help me to identify some of the countries or nations that do a lot of business with Canada. And then I'm going to start to promote in their country.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's funny you said that, because I'm just investigating that now.
Do you share your adventures on social media at all?
Some of it, not all. A lot of it is confidential. But yeah, it's some, not too much. To be honest, I don't really, not enough. For social media, I know you should post almost daily.
Yeah.
I'm on there maybe every couple of weeks.
I'm not really great at it either, but I know that it can be a tool of influence. So if a listener was hearing this dialogue and wanted to find you or reach out to you, do you have some direction on where they could do that?
Yes, directly, they can reach me. My email is karen@kyconcierge.ca. The website is kyconcierge.ca.
So there is a website. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. Listeners, and you never know who's listening. Maybe planting seeds for connects that they have. And I think that word of mouth is so incredibly powerful, but I also think it's also incredibly authentic, right? You don't have to change who you are, put on some sort of persona. You are who you are. You operate in the manner in which you operate, and you create a bar of measure, that is perfection, the cream of the crop in the work you do. How do you see your business growing? Do you have plans to grow and expand?
I I like the boutique style. I like the boutique style. I really do. It's a personalized approach to things. You know, I'll give you one quick story. I had a 13 people in from Japan, and they were on a business trip, but they also brought grandma and a little baby, right? And they were in Toronto, and they were supposed to catch a plane to go to New York one night. And to me, they got on the plane and they left. So I'm finished with them for the night. I get a call at 9:45. Karen, we missed our flight. We can't find another flight out. Get all of us on it because there's 13 of them, and we need to be in New York tomorrow morning for a very important meeting at 9:00.
Oh no! Oh no!
So they called me, and literally I get on the phone, I make some calls, and within a half an hour, I had 3 SUVs there with a baby seat. Drivers drove them to Manhattan.
Oh my goodness, that's like a 10-hour drive.
By 8:30 the next morning, the lead driver's calling me. He said, Karen, your clients are at their appointment. I said, okay, thank you. That Japanese company, they raved about the service. They posted about it. They did everything because that's the personalized boutique service. They call me at 10:00 at night.
Well, you're always on call, really, when you're running your own business, right? There's no off hours or on hours. It's, okay, what can I do next? Problem solving is a real strength, and maybe having some experience with problem solving might be a good piece of advice for somebody looking.
And one of the things I will say you mentioned, and I'm going to say this, when you work for yourself, and even people that work from home, it's a temptation to sleep till whenever you want to. It's a temptation to get up and go to the store or to do laundry or to do whatever you want to do because you're home. Mm-hmm. You have to establish a discipline within yourself, even though sometimes I have no clients, there's nothing going on this week. No, I am up every morning between 7 and 7:30, and I'm in my office by 9:30.
So what do you do for play?
No matter what.
If you're working and kind of in that work mode, what do you do for play? Because I know that you like physical activity.
Yes. So, love hiking, love hiking. I drag my husband out. We go hiking. When we take hiking to the next level, we'll find trails like locally, but we also do stuff like, we went to Tobermory for a few days because they have beautiful hiking trails in Tobermory, which is
road trips. And you're also a martial artist.
Yes. Martial artist is my thing. I haven't trained as much as I should lately because of work and everything else that we're doing. But yeah.
Out of curiosity, which martial art?
Outdoorsy person. Outdoorsy person I am.
You are. But out of curiosity, what martial art?
Oh, sorry. I black belt in Subak-do and then a second degree black belt in Taekwondo.
Don't want to mess with you, huh? Well, our time has passed so quickly, and it's been so interesting to hear the stories and the journey and, I guess what has inspired you to continue forward and really leave a mark, in society on what excellence is. What it feels like, what it looks like, what it sounds like. The attention to details have been covered so minutely by you, but it's kind of your natural calling because you are an organizer. Mm-hmm. Do you have a retirement coming up anytime soon? Are you imagining that? And if so, what would you do in retirement? Because I don't think you're the kind of person who could sit still.
Oh, gosh, no, sitting still for me. It's hard enough for me to sit still to watch a movie on TV. No.
Keep it busy.
I need to be busy. I need to be engaged with people and, having conversations like this and, working from home too. One of the things you need to make sure is try to make sure that you're out at least once or twice a week. Go have lunch with somebody, meet clients, do something to get out there. Otherwise you will, you'll just be inside your office all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The light will dim a little bit. Yeah, you got to feel like you're actually living life. I know being an entrepreneur sounds really exciting, but it is a lot of hard work. You have to carry the weight of everything and really plan and solve and connect and do all the things that many of us don't have all the skills within. Do you regret becoming an entrepreneur? Because you've been an entrepreneur your entire work career.
Yes. Oh, basically, I mean, the times that I spent in radio, even though we did work for the corporation, we were autonomous of it, right?
Yeah.
So you were able to set your own hours and et cetera, and that's a part of where the discipline kicked in. Even though we were able to set our own hours, I was still in the office at 9 every day. So yeah.
Creature of habit. Well,
exactly.
I'm wondering if there's any last words you want to share with listeners that...
You know what? Yeah. I just want to thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for this. You know I was nervous.
But you didn't sound nervous at all.
You made it so comfortable, and it was a great conversation. I thank you for introducing KY Concierge to your audience.
Yeah.
And I do wish you all the best in your entrepreneurial
as we do
journey.
you. It's been so interesting speaking with you and hearing about your journey. I hope some listener is inspired and maybe feels validated because maybe they've already held an interest in that and not quite sure how to begin navigating it. And I think your advice is get out there and do it. Just do it and learn as you're doing it. So brave. Yes. Well, I thank you. I thank you so much. Miss Woolcock, for introducing us to KY Concierge, but also who you are and what drives you. You know, as members of ethnic communities, sometimes people are surprised to know that we run businesses and we can be entrepreneurs and really move forward in a way that contributes to the greater good. And your service to me is extremely unique. It is a niche and boutique space, but I'm sure it's going to be a growing space as the world shrinks. People are traveling more, and so the need is only going to increase. So maybe you're going to be the next Bill Gates. You know, got your finger on the. This is the development. This is how you do it. I expect to see you on TED Talk maybe. Yeah, that would be awesome. Is there something that you kind of wished you had done that you haven't done yet that maybe you're working towards?
Working towards more international development.
Yeah, always work.
We primarily work. Yeah, exactly. We probably work with clients coming to Canada. So we would like to do more on the outbound side, like how we went to the Middle East. And
you know what they call people like you? A workaholic.
Oh.
Make sure you have a good balance of playtime as well.
Yes.
So I'm going to thank you and send you off in a good way. Can't wait for our paths to cross again. Thank you so much for joining us on Ancestral Voices We Belong. Be well, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, my friend. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye. Well, that was Karen Woolcock, the owner and operator and entrepreneur of KY Concierge. Really interesting talk. She says she was nervous. She didn't sound nervous at all, but she had some really cool, unique stories. And I love hearing the human side of people we hold up on platforms. You know, when you get famous and people get attached to your persona, I think sometimes they lose sight of the humanness of who you are. And I think it's really, really cool that we're able to do that in such an intimate way by listening to her stories. I have loved every moment of this interview, and I look forward to having more guests who are entrepreneurs on in different genres. If you have suggestions, visit us on the YouTube page, AVWB2 is the handle for YouTube. We are on Facebook and we are on Instagram. And we're always happy to hear your suggestions. But before we go, I want to take a moment to give thanks to our sponsors, because all this work is only possible because we do have sponsors. And one of our most important sponsors is the town of Aurora. We thank you for your continued support and belief in this project. I also want to take time to thank the Wholesome Conscious, who provides delicious food at our public events, but also supports this vision and dream. Of course, Design de Plume is the one who created this amazing logo that we have, and we thank them for their continued support. And we are powered by Neighbor Media. Neighbor Media is the studio in which we record and operate, and they are amazing. So if you're looking for a space perhaps to start your own venture, reach out to Neighbor Media, located in Aurora, Ontario, Canada. Thank you so much for sitting with us. My name is Kim Wheatley, and I am the host of Ancestral Voices We Belong, and I've enjoyed my time with you. I hope you'll come back and visit us again. Be well.